We are recording, I think. Yep.
Yeah, welcome everyone to the dApp Developer Working Group for Tuesday, October 15th. Okay. Okay, here is the artist reserved rights transfer and sale agreement.
Yes, and there's a lot to that. I finally got to look into it deeper. I didn't look at all of the provisions in there.
So I got up to all the way down to, where am I here? Down to, I stopped at Article 6, so I still have to read Article 7, exhibition, and so forth. But this is the framework. This document, I think, is the framework for our Rolling smart contracts, with the exclusion for our first attempt. We should probably keep it simple and omit this section on exhibition, and there might be something else, and that could be added to the next or a future version of our rolling smart contract. But yeah, what the agreement does, it's really enlightening as far as what they talk about is this transfer of art pieces. So let's see, who do we have here? Hey Ned, welcome.
Hey Steve, how you doing?
Doing all right.
So
we were go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, yesterday Eric was saying that all he wants to see is the 15%.
Yeah, well,
paid, I guess, on a resale, right?
Right. Well, 15% on the resale. So that would be the initial sale, and then a resale, and then
Actually, again, we can make our contract anything we want it, but I think this document says that the artist gets 15% on increases in the value of the art object.
that's correct.
So if if the original guy buys it for 1,000, and then he sells it for 2,000, then the original artist gets 15% of 1,000.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep. And
I'm not sure what happens on the next resale.
Well, that's the pattern. It's for the increased in value.
So it would have to go above 3,000 on the next sale for the original artist to get anything back.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll agree with that. But again, we could write our contracts any way we want them.
Right. Yeah, that's essentially it. And this agreement talks about different situations where, a lot of times artists, they'll have their artwork and they'll sell it to their friends or to other artists in lieu of, for bartering or for services. So I don't mean to complicate the situation, and we may exclude this, or we have to figure out how we want to deal with it. But
yeah, I mean, we probably want to say we know on the first resale, we know how that works, and so we just should write our contract to handle that first sale for now, and then while we're getting that done, we can be talking about what does this thing look like in the far distant future? And is it still, running on the contract, on the piece of art forever and ever? Yeah, whatever. But for now, just that first resale, 15% back, and we've established a milestone of some sort.
Yeah, and I'm going back to that first initial transaction. So I'm just going to kind of throw out a scenario where, so say I have a piece of art, and I'm going to sell it to Jim. But here, let me change the scenario where Jim actually is an auto mechanic and he fixes my car. So, and so in lieu of me paying him for fixing my car, I give him a piece of art. I give him some artwork. So the sale price is zero, but I have to, in the exchange, determine what the value of that art piece is. So there's, in this first case scenario, and this is an alternative first case scenario. So the obvious one is where Jim wants to buy a piece of artwork for $1,000. I sell him the artwork and he gives me $1,000. But then another scenario is where an exchange of goods and services in a bartering sense, where Jim he fixes my car, and it's $1,000 worth of value. I give him a piece of art, and there's no money exchanges hands. But in the document, I list the value. So the price is zero, but the value of the artwork is $1,000. So I think if we incorporate this bartering aspect to the art, it may give more freedom and expand the usability of these rolling contracts, because there's this
Yeah, we can write into the we can write into the contracts that we want the all returns to be somehow converted into any token we choose, at the going conversion rate. And what do they call it? Something contribution in kind or something.
Yeah, so
political elections. I mean, you've got to account for those things.
Okay, so I just wanted to kind of introduce that into the discussion. So, and going back to Michael Linton's, as far as the open money concept, as far as what I'm gathering, I'm looking at it as more of an ongoing ledger, as opposed to a token being created and exchanged, but a ledger of debits and credits, which exist, and they just sort of the ledger gets added to as transactions. Okay, so and with that note, I haven't, Jim, you suggested creating user stories, and that's a pretty good idea, but I haven't gotten to that point. And I think we were talking about, as far as how to approach all of this, with a, explanation or a roadmap or something like that. But I think this artist reserve rights transfer and sale agreement is good enough for now for us to work from. And it's essentially this first line right here of the agreement is designed to give that artist 15% of any increase in value of each work each time it is transferred in the future. So I guess we have to have the initial transfer, and then once we have that, we're pleased with that aspect, then the transfers, future transfers.
Yeah, and I was thinking of just diving in and doing a quick and dirty implementation of
Yeah.
this agreement. When I didn't realize how much was to this agreement.
Right.
Really,
Yeah.
it's really, you know, is a lot to it. Okay, the use case we're concerned with here is simply the resale, and you know,
Okay.
this is not, you know, this is for unique items that are singular items. And
Okay. So
so
So we're going to bypass the initial sale and just strictly focus on the resale.
now
Is that
exactly, no, exactly.
Well, no. The initial sale has been done. You and I have achieved that in the channels. I sold you founding
Gary? You're getting cut
some
off.
lumen for it. So I mean, we can sell anything already. Now we've got to, control the rights to that anything and be able to transfer those things. And I think that's where we are now.
Well, you know, I think we should. Um, uh, I guess what I was suggesting is, yeah, we could just do a simple use case of the resale and with the 15% or whatever, or in thinking about how we approach it, and I guess we were looking at, you know, writing something yesterday, but Gary was late and I gave up on him. Was the ERC 721 interface as a basis for storing ARC objects on the blockchain. And part of the reason for this is because having a standard interface would be a good thing. And the other reason for doing this is because ever since the first day Eric was talking about these, he's been talking about ERC 721 tokens on Ethereum.
Yeah.
So if that's the direction we're going on Ethereum, then certainly we want to use a similar interface on RChain, right, or the same interface. And this sort of gives us a prior step to our first use case. Well, it's not a prior step. It changes it in that we're going to create our step becomes is to create an ERC 721 token, step one. Okay, and clearly we want it to represent the art object, but that could be very simple. And let's see, is an ERC 721? It's a free open standard that describes how to build a non-fungible or unique tokens on the Ethereum blockchain. While most tokens are fungible, every token is the same as every other token. The ERC 721 tokens are all unique. Okay, this is think of them like rare, one-of-a-kind collectibles. Okay, which is what we're doing, right?
Yes. So
okay, so we have an interface. I don't know what the ERA165 is. Okay, so we have a transfer function that lets us transfer from one address to another address. Okay, we have well, this is the definition. This is what we're building, right?
okay.
Now that I don't know why we need this 165. ERC 165. Supports interface. Interface ID. The interface identifier is specified in the ERC.
I know why Jim is looking at what he's looking at now, but can I just kind of back up now while we're doing this and say the way that we would use a non-fungible ERC 761 token is that it would somehow be attached to our art object?
Yes. Okay. This is an interface. So this is the behavior. One of the things we could do with this is see who the owner is. We get to do an owner of function.
Okay.
And then, there's the approval stuff here. Interface sub 21, and then they have a comment here is ERC 165. I don't know what that 165 is. So you can transfer ownership. I think the approval zero.
Jim, this might be a basic question. So we're going to be writing our smart contract in Rolang, but aren't what we're looking at here terms or code for if we were writing in Salinity?
Right, and no, this I'm not sure how we do events in Solidity in Rolang at this point, but we can look at something like this. We can say, okay, we're going to have a function balance of.
Okay, so you're kind of processing in your head of taking what you would do in Salinity and repurposing it or refactoring it into what it would be in Rolang.
This is just an This is just an interface. Okay, so we have integer 256 in Solidity. We don't care about that.
Okay.
Jim, would we be wise to think of this as a protocol?
Yeah, it's an interface. It's like a protocol. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the abstraction, and then you come in and do the implementation. Lots of different ways to call it.
Right. So we can do we can do a make directory art on the block chain. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Art on the Yeah,
AOTB. Should we be doing this as well, or is this just for you?
Well, everybody can have a version of it.
yeah.
Now I'm in my in Windows in the Ubuntu, which Gary and I found out is big fun. Ed, you have Windows? Do you use the Ubuntu on Windows?
I do in VirtualBox.
Yeah, you don't have to have a VirtualBox.
Yeah, Ned, you want to get rid of VirtualBox? I'm not kidding.
You still want VirtualBox. But...
No. But then I have to redo. I tried. So you're saying you formatted a partition on your hard drive and
No. You got to hear this story that Jim's going to tell you about POSIX.
No, I heard that this morning, but how do I get the nuts and bolts? How do I run Ubuntu? Do I just spin it up from a command line?
Yeah, you probably have to enable it.
Yeah, you have to enable WSL. Go to your, what is it, your system or your...
Okay. I'll have to try it off. You know, one thing, when I got this computer, I got it with Windows Home, and it may not have that ability.
Oh,
It does?
It
I don't
has
know.
it.
It doesn't. I have to upgrade to the professional version.
No, I have Home also. Home has it.
Okay. So, all right. So I have to find WSL.
Yeah, you need to. I mean, you can find it on the web how to turn it on, but I don't
Okay.
know what WSL run command does.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Okay, that runs it, but I don't think you can. You can try WSL command, see if it runs.
Okay.
I
But how
think
do you get
have to,
Ubuntu running?
I think you have to install Ubuntu once.
No, you don't.
Okay, well,
You have to enable it if it's not enabled.
Okay.
If you just type WSL, you get a run command for that.
Oh, you want me to try that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
Otherwise, you have to.
Ned, I just went through this exercise yesterday, and it was like, you know, I feel like I'm an expert now.
Okay, let's see. Windows subsystem has no installed distributions. Distributions can be installed by visiting the Microsoft Store.
Interesting. That's not the way it worked initially.
Continue. Well, which is the any?
It says.
Sorry, it's a bad joke.
Okay, what? This is what I went through. Enable WSL in Windows.
Yeah.
What's this full creators update?
All right, I'll have to try that. So, and then what does that do? It lets you run Ubuntu inside of Windows?
Yeah, but there's a way.
It's running natively in Windows.
But it's the Ubuntu look and feel.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So,
But it's not like running a separate instance. I mean, you can look at all the processes running on the Windows system. I'm guessing, but it's pretty amazing.
yeah, I don't know how it allocates disk space for it. Actually,
And was it it runs it in a separate window, so it's just like a window?
No, these are processes that are running. I mean, you get a terminal, a TTY access to it, but when you leave that TTY access, the processes stay running. Oh, it's wonderful.
Right. Now I installed X Windows on mine, so I can actually run like XIs, which isn't it.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
I have to I have to set display, I guess. No, I'm not going to worry about it right now. Yeah, I mean, I tested that the X Windows works on it, so you can run things.
Have you tried running RNode in it?
Oh, absolutely. Our node runs. In fact, that's what I'm.
This is really big. I mean, no, we don't have to worry about a cloud server now to run our.
Yeah, the problem is that we don't have an external IP address. So if we're going to need that at some point, and
yeah, and at what point will we need that?
when you want to connect to mainnet or testnet, supposedly.
Yeah, okay.
Now, supposedly it'll use PNP so that it doesn't need to have that, but I haven't gotten that to work. We have to figure out how to make it work.
What is PNP?
It's It's point-to-point TCP
Oh.
connection, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, I have to figure that out. So I can do vi art.row, right? And then I could do append, let's say new uh, new I'll just do something stupid here. In and then if I look at the definition here, I see balance of. Okay, so we're going to define my art at quote balance of. And we're going to give that a, why does it won't give the owner? Oh, I guess this is going to tell it whether an owner owns it or not. I don't know. I'll just put ooh, okay, this is maybe a bad example here, but this is what we this is how we start implementing that interface in Golang. And of course, we may have to read a little bit more to figure out exactly what happens, like the owner of. Okay, so this thing is going to have an owner. Transfer from approved, set approval, get approved, if approved.
Jim, why don't you just paste that whole thing into?
Yeah, I could do that, but I don't know exactly how this is going to be done. But it's been too long since I read about this 721 interface and exactly what it's for and what it does. But this would be a bit, this would be like the very basic interface. Of course, we would need to have some way of making a new contract, which to put it. So we would have some way of creating a new one. And we would probably want to give it give it an owner right here. Who and give it it would have a certificate of auth associated with it.
Yes.
Okay, now we're also, so we're also now going to define the certificate of authenticity, what that includes. And we start with a really simple one, right?
Okay.
And we have to decide what the interface to that is. What do we get for that? But
Right.
in any case, we write all this, we write our contracts, and then we do a our node eval art.row, and of course this doesn't have any oops. What did I do? But you get the idea. I mean, you can your Windows machine then becomes nice, a place where you can very easily debug your program, and you can run Visual Studio code also. And there's two ways to run it. One is, okay, if since I'm in Mount C using Jim Scarver, I can actually run Visual Studio Code in Windows, and I can run the R node in Ubuntu, which is the way you're supposed to run it. But I've run it both ways. I've run it. If you install X Windows, you can run graphical programs here, which I played with a little. It works. Unavailable. IO exception. What did I do? I know what's wrong. Yeah, I'm not. I have to actually run the node in order to do any eval. Yeah, of course, it doesn't remember that. Yeah. So I have to start the if that's the only other thing. R node. What is it? Run -s. Why is it not typing? Reset. Something's happening with my terminal. R node. Run -s. Standalone. What you doing? It looks like it stopped. I don't see an error though. Where's the? Oh,
What is that message about Amazon AWS service about?
that's what it does to find out what my IP address is. It's just the service they use.
Oh,
It thinks the UPnP was successful, maybe. Host is not provided. Error.
talking about the gateway up there.
I should probably update my R node here anyway. But I was running R node on here before, no problem. But of course, in order to do an eval, it has to be running. And it's not running because it got an error. What is this thing? Yeah, so I'll just do that again. But it's going to make a Windows machine a lot nicer. When you're running a doc, I don't know, when you're running a Docker image or a VirtualBox, Ned, are you able to run the Roland programs you have in your Windows partition? I know you're supposed to be able to have map files, Windows files under the either Docker or VirtualBox machines, but I've had difficulty getting that to work. But this is very nice. You don't have to run any. You don't have to run a virtual host. Once this is installed, it's always there.
Yeah, and even if your computer goes down because of a battery power outage or a blue screen, you don't lose your instance like you do when you're running a bash shell. But it's funny about this Windows subsystem for Linux. Almost the day before I discovered it, I had resigned myself to the fact that I was going to have to get my own cloud hosted machine access because there were just too many things I couldn't do that I wanted to do. And I mean, I wasted a day back there trying to set up an AWS account. That is the worst user interface I've ever seen on that thing. At least for users at my level. But I'm still not sure if I have successfully activated my free, my free starter account yet.
You'll find out. I once asked an AW expert, so how much is this going to cost me every month? And he goes, well, they got a calculator, they got this and this, but basically you're not going to find out until you get your first bill.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know that. And once you put in something out there, you pretty much going to leave it there or find something else just as good. So.
Well, for a long time I was running, this WSL is pretty cool, but for a long time I was running VirtualBox and R node inside of VirtualBox, and I had no problems. The only thing I had to keep remembering to do was open up that port on my router so I could communicate with the R node network. But it was actually really easy. Just then they got into where every two seconds you had to update your Java package and your this and this and it got to be kind of unwieldy. But VirtualBox actually
is something. You still need to do your updates.
Yeah. And I can't remember if I had the free version of VirtualBox. At some point I worked for a company and we bought subscriptions, so I don't remember if I was using like a paid for version or a free version, but.
Well, then the deal breaker for me with VirtualBox was how badly it consumed my resources.
Really?
Yes, always. Even now with you know, state of the art, or you know, I'm one generation behind, but I've got a nice, powerful computer now. I didn't like the performance hit I was taking with VirtualBox.
Interesting. I never had an issue with that, but hey, you know, it's not like I don't believe it.
Well, what you get may vary, and if it works for you, I understand about not changing your workflow. But this WSL is nice. This Windows subsystem for Linux. If we always go through our robots in either Keybase or Discord, we don't need to connect directly with a static IP. You've just got to have we just got to be able to trust you to some extent in the handling of our transactions, right? Through robot.
Well, I mean, where are you running RNode? If you're talking to RNode, it doesn't matter whether you're doing it with a robot or not. Where the robot's running, you need to be running an RNode.
Well, why I'm asking this is I'm wanting to see, is there any way for an RChain user to be able to access RChain without having to run a static IP address?
I think you can.
Yeah, I don't have a static IP address. I mean, I kind of do. It's one of those from Cablevision. So they change it all the time. And it never affected me.
It'll discover your IP address.
Yeah. If you need it, when you spin up RNode, it'll tell you what your IP address is, from what I remember.
Yeah, mine's a little bit funny because I have to go through 2 routers to get to the.
But yeah, that, like I said, the biggest thing, you have to make sure you open up that bi-directional communication port on your router. Every router probably calls it something. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was called, but once I did that, it was really a piece of cake.
So you're saying you think you'll have all the access to RNode you need without a static IP address?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's good news for me. That's music to my ears. Now someone's got to show us how to do it, and it better not require me running VirtualBox. I want to be able to do it in WSL.
No, you can do it. You can do it in WSL.
Once you get to your command line, it doesn't matter who's hosting your command line.
All right.
And because it's not a virtual box, it's got the same IP addresses as your raw Windows machine. It doesn't have different ones. So you don't have to do mappings. So I'm just finishing setting up, and I'm putting the current RNode out there. And I'm going to try, I think this will be a really nice development environment for me. I can just check out stuff from GitHub and run it. And it's always there.
I have noticed one thing that I'm not able to do now, that I don't understand why. That's when I run I've got my Ubuntu WSL system running. I go over and run my bash, and I can't do simple things in bash that I used to do. And I don't understand why. And I'm talking about the get bash.
Yeah, I'm not an expert in that. Maybe you don't have the right bash package installed.
Well, everything seemed to work before. But
Before what?
now that I have the WSL working, I mean, that's what I'm going to use most of the time. But I just needed to do something.
Did you install bash under WSL?
Yes, that's kind of what it is. I mean,
No, what I'm saying is I had all kinds of trouble because Ubuntu didn't come with a standard bash. So you have to download a bash package and install it. So maybe you have when you installed it, you installed a different version.
I've never had that issue.
Uh,
How you'd have a new Ubuntu without a bash.
yeah, it gave me all kinds of problems until I figured that out. Actually, Draw really helped me with that. I just couldn't figure it out. He said, "Oh, you have to install bash because it's Unix." So Unix has, I don't know, maybe the package I had didn't.
Are you sure that wasn't Docker or something?
Docker was a whole. I never even got Docker working. That was that was a whole other thing.
Because I mean, there's all kinds of images that are really stripped down.
Yep.
That have nothing in them, and that's for so that when you deploy an app, you don't put anything extra. I mean, the standard Linux system is 10,000 files, right? When your app may only need 100 of them.
Yeah.
So there's some really stripped down versions out. I never heard of one without a bash though. That's interesting. Yeah. I don't know. It seems inconceivable that you could run a Linux system without a bash.
Because there's other, bash is just the command line scripting
Right, but
utility.
But Linux uses that for everything.
I know that.
There's a system.
Trust me, I was at a severe disadvantage until I installed it.
Yeah, I mean, they can't even run the operating system because so much of the operating system is written in bash. So I am having trouble, which I don't know why I didn't have this trouble before, but now I have. It says it wants OpenJDK 11. Well, I don't know how to install this. So I am having a headache now with the Java. I don't know why I didn't have that problem before. I guess it's been a long time since I ran RNode on the machine.
Oh, I just got it working. I got my my bash working, and I know what I was doing wrong. Okay, never mind. When WSL is wonderful in every way again. I want to share. I'll just share what I did because it's fun. And is that? Am I sharing my screen? Oh, this is a game in Keybase. It's a word grid where the words all form the same thing up and down. I just love this game. I'm addicted to it. Let me show you a little bit of it. I'm sorry I'm taking up our time, but these are dApps like we can build, and look at all these notifications I'm getting.
Want to share your screen, Gary?
Oh, I'm not sharing it. Okay. I can't get the notifications off my screen. This is so funny. It just started happening now, so I must, something must not want me to share my screen right now. I'm getting a stream of notifications that just will not stop. Wonder what's wrong. Okay, sorry guys, I can't share my screen. It's funny. Oh, I'm sharing, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I just wanted to show you what I did. I'm streaming the Keybase, all the chat channels now, just through a simple JQ command in my this is really my DOS shell, but I'm running a bash in it. Okay, this is a good thing to know too, because let me just show you how simple that. I should be able to break out of that, but I'm not. Okay, I broke out of it now. And the command to do that is just that. Keybase chat API listen pipe, and then JQ, and then dot. Dot is the filter that passes everything through. The simplest filter you can possibly have. So why did I want to show you that? Well, anyway, that's something. But I use that stream all the time because when I'm debugging something and get an error that was caused by a message, I can go to my stream and just stop it, and then scroll back up to where the message was logged, and then look at all the different fields to figure out why my program might have crashed. Anyway, that's just a pro tip.
Very good. Thank you, Gary.
Cool. All right, gentlemen. So Steve, you saw my email to Kenny.
Yeah.
And his response. Not quite sure. I don't know, do you want to respond? I wasn't really kind of sure. He's saying, I assume you mean documentation does not concern Ethereum signing, which in a meeting we just had with Greg seems to still be an issue because we don't do Ethereum signing. In that case, it would be the current API, but with a SECP 256.1 signature scheme. I can have a PR by the end of the week, probably. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I in some ways, I think if we stick with NetZipper, Thomas Law, and Aardman, we're probably in good shape.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're tuned into where we're at. They're more on the same page as far as what's going on. Kenny, he's been out of the loop for a while. Although, you know, I don't know how much he's been watching, tuning into Discord. But yeah, we can. Yeah, just touch.
I mean, he's working on this project, and it's kind of, he's been working with Greg on it for the exchanges, and you know, he's just kind of, I think, yeah, that's really where his focus is, just kind of working with Greg to get the exchanges up. So
Okay.
yeah, I think it's a little bit of a different focus, and
Okay.
that's really the what's the right word? The extent of his commitment right now to working with RChain.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not looking to do a lot of extra other stuff.
Right. He's still working with MakerDAO.
I heard he was not.
Oh.
I heard MakerDAO released everybody about, I guess, about 4 or 6 weeks ago at this point.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't follow them. That's just what I heard some people say, and that he was no longer working with them, like many other people.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, crypto winter, it doesn't seem like it's over. I mean, this is really, I don't know. The whole adoption curve.
So the Bitcoin Foundation threw in the towel this week, right?
I'm sorry, what was it?
The Bitcoin Foundation.
What about it?
They've been inactive for months, and now they let their URL go. They don't have a website anymore.
Was that Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash?
Bitcoin is it?
All right, I think that was Bitcoin Cash, which is basically let everybody go. Really, yeah. I mean, there's really nothing active. I mean, Bitcoin surprisingly has maintained its price level. Litecoin is about dead. They've got, I think all their devs are gone. I mean, it's just kind of, yeah, who knows what'll happen. But it's interesting. Anywho.
Okay. Yeah,
Would this
thanks.
be a good time for us to go looking for out-of-work blockchain developers who might be interested in what we're doing? I knew at one time you could. I mean, blockchain developers were like the highest demand programmer out there.
I think maybe some enterprises are hiring them, but for now, I'm not sure who would hire them, and we certainly can't afford to pay anybody. So.
Well, we'll get them on Art on the Blockchain project and pay them in AOTB tokens.
Sounds good to me.
There you go.
And only to be used on Keybase.
Yeah, the AOTB tokens probably, but not the art object itself. It could go anywhere.
Right. All right. Sounds good. I'm kind of kidding, but all right, gentlemen.
Okay, guys.
I'll see you all
Yep.
tomorrow.
See you guys. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.